In a small compound in central Kenya, there lived a girl no one defended. Not when she was shouted at, not when she was overworked, not even when she went to bed hungry. Her name was Achieng, and the man who should have protected her stayed silent. But years later, she would stand over him in a hospital room, not as a victim, but as his doctor. The sun rose slowly over the hills of central Kenya, spreading gold across banana leaves and coffee bushes. Morning mist rested gently over the red soil. From outside, the homestead looked peaceful. A cement house with a tin roof, a small gate, laundry hanging quietly in the breeze. But inside that compound, peace did not live. Near the doorway stood Achieng, slim, quiet, neatly dressed in an old faded dress. She held a yellow water container she had carried from the river before sunrise. Her arms trembled slightly from the weight. From inside the kitchen, a sharp voice broke the calm. "Why are you standing there? Bring that water." Achieng stepped in quickly. "Yes, Mama." Her stepmother stood by the stove, stirring porridge with impatient force. Her two daughters sat at the table, laughing softly, scrolling through their phones before school. "I have brought the water," Achieng said politely. "Good. Wash the utensils, wash their uniforms, sweep the compound, then go to the shamba." Achieng nodded. She hesitated. "Mama, may I eat first?" The room went quiet. "Eat? Work first, food later, if anything remains." The daughters giggled. In the corner, her father sat repairing a wooden stool. He heard everything. The words reached his ears, they reached his heart, but he said nothing. And sometimes silence hurts more than cruelty. The morning stretched into afternoon. Achieng scrubbed plates until her fingers wrinkled. She washed uniforms until her arms ached. She swept dust that the wind kept returning. Then she walked to the field. Under the hot Kenyan sun, she dug. Across the path, her stepsisters walked to school in bright uniforms, laughing as their shoes tapped against the road. They never looked back. Heat shimmered above the soil. Still, Achieng worked. She never complained, not once. That evening, laughter filled the house as supper was served. The smell of ugali and stew drifted through the air. Achieng stood nearby, waiting. No one called her. When they finished, the plates were pushed aside. "You can clear," her stepmother said casually. Achieng collected the dishes quietly. Her stomach growled. No one noticed. Days passed, weeks passed, and life continued the same way. Work, silence, endurance, until one afternoon, everything changed. The sun was lowering when Achieng walked to the river with her empty container. She sat by the water for a moment before filling it, just to breathe. That was when she heard footsteps. She looked up. A woman stood nearby. Her face was calm, her eyes kind. "My child," the woman asked gently, "why are you alone here?" Achieng was not used to soft voices. "I came for water." "Have you eaten?" Achieng shook her head. Something shifted in the woman's expression. Not pity, understanding. "Come," she said, extending her hand. That single word felt warmer than any fire. Slowly, Achieng placed her hand in hers, and for the first time in her life, someone held it. Years passed like turning pages. The girl who once stood silently in a dusty yard now walked confidently through hospital corridors. Her white coat moved gently as she walked. Her name badge read Dr. Achieng. She had studied harder than anyone. She had grown stronger than anyone expected. But she did not grow bitter, because kindness had planted hope where pain once lived. One day, a patient was brought into her ward. An older man, weak, pale. When she opened the file and saw his name, her breath paused. When she entered the room and saw his face, time stood still. It was her father. His eyes widened slowly. "My daughter?" Achieng stood there for a moment. Then she stepped closer. "Yes, I am here. No anger, no revenge, just grace." She checked his pulse, adjusted his blanket, spoke kindly. Outside the room, her stepmother sat quietly beside one of her daughters. Their faces carried regret. Life had not been easy for them either. But Achieng did not look at them with hatred. She looked at them with peace. Because some victories are not loud. Some victories are gentle. That evening, Achieng walked beside the woman who had once found her at the river. The sunset painted the sky gold and rose. Their shadows stretched long behind them. She had once been the child no one defended. Now she was the woman who healed. And in healing others, she healed herself. Thanks for watching. Want to listen more of Tales of Liz Sweet Tales? Subscribe to encourage me. Like, comment, and share. Bye.